One, two, three, four, and we're live. Hi, and welcome to the Electronic Show. This is 2100 hour Central European Time, and I am Tommy Helgevold, who is your host. I'm a little bit tired because it's 9 o'clock. It's quite late in Europe, but if you're really curious to why we have chosen 2100 hours, it's because this is when most Americans come home from work, which is roughly minus 6 hours, and this is where just before Europeans go to bed, actually. So, okay, and we have Peter. Welcome back, Peter. How you doing? Today's topic, you can probably see them. Those are totally 3D printing, this time going high resolution, and today's surprise electronics. I have a special gadget here I'm going to show you later on, and you're going to be able to guess what it is. I'm betting there's not a lot of people who are going to be able to guess what it is, but it's going to be fun anyway. We're also going to test it and see what it is and see what it does and stuff like that. So, welcome. We have more people. Come on, let's see who that is. Hello, Ailey, and welcome. Oh, hi, how you doing? And welcome to the show. Okay, we have about 3 viewers right now, and I'm going to continue to talk about 3D printing. As you probably know, I bought a 3D printer yesterday, and I've been testing it, of course. Yesterday you saw those little things that we printed. It was basically just a simple test we did in like 10 minutes to 15 minutes, and those were the enclosures, the relatively simple to make enclosures. This one was made in roughly 10 minutes, excluding the modeling, of course. And this was the first one I ever printed, and it just worked straight out of the box. But of course, as you know, and you probably guessed already, I was thinking about making a much more high-resolution object today, and of course to test the printer and see what I can do, see how far I could push it. I actually made several tests today, but since these tests are taking an awful lot of time, there's no use in showing you guys this live, because yeah, it takes time. The latest character I just printed on the printer took 7 hours. And you won't believe that I actually spent several hours just looking at it while it was printing. Of course, it's new to me, so it's kind of exciting. So hi, Dino. Welcome back to the show. We are more and more joining right now. That's great. I'm just going to show you that. How you guys doing? I was talking about 3D printing, I was talking about yesterday too, but today I have done some really extensive tests with my new fancy printer. As you all know, or at least some of you guys know, I have gotten this fancy little thing called a FlashForge. I don't get any money for pushing or advertising for this. There's like probably 30 or different printers that are just as good, or worse, or better. I don't know. This has just happened to be my first 3D printer, and I just happened to get the gray version. This is a white version, and the most common one is the red one. That doesn't make any difference. It's just different color choices. It has a color screen actually on it, which is a touch screen. It's a relatively silent printer. I've been looking at the reviews, and people have actually spent 20,000 Swedish kroner on a model that is called Replicator 2, or MakerBot Replicator 2, is actually inferior to this one according to different reviews. I don't know if it's fanboyism or it's any truth. I have never had a MakerBot 2, but they're actually saying this one is way more accurate when it comes to creating reproducible results, or retraceable results, if you like. And I'm inclined to believe them. It seems very professional. It's actually meant to be an entry model to the 3D world. Only cost about $500, so it's not a lot of money. And it's also dirt cheap to print with. Just one of these PLA packages, which is roughly 600 gram, a little bit over half a kilo, 250 meters of print material, cost 149 Swedish kroner. That's roughly $15 or something like that. So we're not talking about an absolute fortune. It's actually super cheap to print stuff. And as you probably know, I have this cute little character that I have designed in 3D, which is called Noodles. Let's see if I can find them. I probably have him somewhere here in Blender. This is one of the designs that I made. This is one of the cartoon characters that I have made and created. I had made this one many years ago in Blender, and I was thinking, this is kind of obvious. Of course I'm going to print him. Of course, I gotta have him printed out. But it's very difficult to get the colors and everything else to match, so I basically just make him into a small, sort of a troll doll when I made the printout. So I had to narrow down a lot of the details in order to make this doable. So basically what I did is that I made it for print, and it's basically like this. And it's not going to look quite as nude when it gets to be printed. So what I did, I was converting him to a object here, inside here. Let's see if we can load it. Noodles for print support, I think. Yeah. Then you're going to see something interesting. This is how it was going to look when I printed him. But as you can see, he has a beard here that he's not supposed to have. And you're probably wondering, why does he have this beard? Well, you see, that is not actually a beard. That is actually just a support. This support here is important because if I'm printing him without a support, he is going to end up looking like a complete disaster. And I tried to make a quick 1-hour print of this dude called Noodles, which I created before. And that turned out to be an absolute disaster. I had to stop the printing before the head was printed because it was spewing out threads. I'll show you this. Let's go to a close-up cam. As you can see here, the legs were absolutely screwed up, and you can see there's threads hanging everywhere. And when it came to the head, because of the advanced hair that Noodle had, then all of these threads were coming out all the time. But it was quite impressive for just 1 hour to actually print this much, because it's actually relatively big. But I'm gonna show you the finished results. But the finished result took 7 hours, and I kid you not. This is the finished result. It's kind of difficult to see in the light because it's all white. But to print this little character took, you're not going to believe, 7 hours! And that's a long time to be waiting. But hey, it's supposed to be one of the faster printers. I don't even dare to think how long the other ones would have taken. But let's take a close-up look and look at him. He's kind of a cute little troll. It's like one of these troll dolls, if you know what I mean. Will you believe that the hair is what took the printer the longest to print out? Because there were so much details in this that I was thinking, okay, there's 1 more hour of printing left, but no, it spent several hours just doing the details on here. And the details are very fine. As you can see here from the eyes, even the smallest of details in the eyes came out. Even when it came to his feet and nails, let's see, the camera is sort of tricking me, so I'm gonna look. Come on, if I can get detail. There's no zoom here, but I wanted to show you the nails that it has, because even the small nails came out. So the details of this character actually came out pretty well. And if you're wondering what all this is the stuff that I was showing you here. Let me see here. This is the support stuff. That's the support material that it needed in order to print it correctly, so it doesn't get all those threads and it doesn't fall apart while doing this. I'll show you what I mean. It even printed a support base that I could easily tear off when I was done. It was actually sitting here somehow on that support base, like this, I believe, like that, as you can see here. And I could actually pry it off like that when I was done. And this stuff I had to pry off from the model, and that takes quite a lot of time to do. All of this junk here, is really well stuck onto the model. So doing this actually takes quite a bit of time. Another thing that I learned from this process is that the PLA stuff is very sensitive to water. It is also very sensitive to moisture, and it's also very sensitive to dirt. For example, I wanted to sandpaper it down, so I had some black sandpaper, but it actually got kind of dirty under here, under the chin and stuff like that, from the sandpaper. And when I tried to wash it away with water, it actually got more and more dirty. So I had to, file it off in order to get rid of the dirt. So this hasn't been entirely problem-free, so to speak, but it's been a fun experience. Printing these models here is a lot easier to do. This is a lot easier to do. I mean, this one only took like 10 minutes, and this took like 3 minutes to print out. And I used high speed mode. In order to print this little guy, I just used normal mode. And if you think that's bad resolution, I don't know what you think. I think that's great resolution anyway. That's how I look at it. But if you think this is bad resolution, this was actually just printed in normal mode. It has a high resolution mode, and it also has something called a hyper mode. And the hyper mode is capable of super high resolutions. I haven't tried that because I'm sort of guessing this is going to take forever. It's probably going to take all night and then some. Which, speaking of which, I'm probably going to use my nights to be printing these things. If you have any questions, I'm going to open the chat window now to see if you have some questions. Okay, Peter, that's a very good question. Thank you, everybody. Is a very cute little character. I like him too. Noodle is not well, it's sort of solid and hollow at the same time. This first one here that I created was totally hollow because I used a so-called vase mode, which means is actually what it does is that it prints. Let me show you this because you get an idea. In the vase mode, it is printing really fast, and it's basically just printing the outline. Sometimes it takes the time to fill it up just a little bit, but it only fills up a small layer, like 2 or 3 small layers before it actually gets there. And as you can see here, it has severe problems keeping those lines up, and that's basically because it didn't have these supports that this other model had. This model had all the supports and therefore came out really beautiful. This one is not entirely hollow, it's like semi-hollow. You could say it has 15% of filling in it, or filament in it, and it's formed like a hexagon shape, if you like. They actually print them as a hexagon shape. I'm going to show you this. I think we can Google this so you get an idea what it is. I'm going to remove this now and just go to Google and just type gun inside printed 3D printed characters. That's probably going to show you something like this. I'm not really sure. But if not, I can show you guys another day. But what it really does, when you are printing something, it will half fill inside, sort of, with a hexagon pattern. Kind of like that pattern you see here. But just inside of it in order to make it stick. This doesn't really show properly. Doesn't even show here. I should have taken some photos of that actually. Let's go back to the chat and see if you have some question. Hello, Ailey. I don't really play Manyland that much anymore, but you know what? We should really show Manyland to the people. What you guys don't know is that I played Manyland, which is a video game pretty much like Anyland, a 3D game I've shown you, but it's 2D, like a 2D Minecraft if you like. And you can create your own video games, and you can chat and everything else. I'm going to show you guys that another day, maybe during this week. It's a good idea, Ailey. We are, or Ollie. That's a pretty good idea. We are going to show you Manyland, because we already seen Anyland, so we might as well show you that. So that's a pretty good idea. I like that idea. I think we should do that. Because I actually spent a lot of my time in Manyland. After work, when I used to work, I spent like probably 5 hours every day, like almost like a fanatic, and I made games there. I became relatively popular in many land because of the video games that I created inside of the games. Sort of a game creator inside of the game, if you like. Yep. And back to the 3D printing. If you have more questions about that, I'll be more than happy to answer it because I've been experimenting a lot. One of those things that I have noticed that is a big problem for most people is that they are going to get stuck to this plate somehow. I have gotten some great internet advice on how to stick them in a way. Normally, there's this little spatula looking thing, big knife that follows it. It's a plastic knife that I can loosen it with. But I can tell you that noodles was really hard to get off the plate this time. So I actually used a fine old graphics arts set of knives. Yeah, and I used this one to pry it off. Unfortunately, I think I cut into the plate itself, but that doesn't really matter that much. I got reserve plates. It comes with the whole thing. So they obviously know about this stuff. This is some kind of weakness. There's supposed to be a glass plate behind this. You can just barely see it here, shiny behind here. So it's supposed to be a glass plate. Some people just say they use hairspray on it in order to make it stick, and then easily gotten off. I don't know. We'll have to see in the future how I'll deal with those issues. For now, I got a good tip about using sandpaper as well. So that works. That works pretty well as well. So let's see if you have a few questions. Right. Okay. No more questions right now. But anyway, this is how that is. The device I was talking about right now is a little surprise device that I have for you. Since we're not talking about 3D or 3D printing right now, I'm going to show you this. I have to make some little bit of space because the big 3D printer is right here, and I have to have a glass mat here, you know, for video gaming, and it's probably going to break when I put this huge device up here. See if I can move the microphone because this is kind of big. So I'm going to clear some space here so I can show you this. I'm not going to tell you this straight away what it is. I'm going to give you guys a chance to guess what it is. Oh, easy. This is a big one. Can you guess what it is? I'm looking at the screen all the time. That's why I'm not looking at the camera, because I want to see if everything is inside the frame. Let's put it up somewhere so you guys can see it. It is a very special gadget that I bought at a company that builds telephones or mobile phones. If you're into today's mobile phones, you probably know Sony Ericsson. I actually bought this device from Sony Ericsson, and they didn't use it. They say it was a mistake to buy this. They needed a bigger model, so I got this one. It was brand new when I bought it some years ago. You can see there's a sort of a rubber keyboard here, which is kind of weird. It kind of reminds you of a really old computer central or something like that. The interesting part is it is not really that old. The communication speed of this thing is actually 2 megabit, and you didn't have 2 megabit back in the 80s. So I have no idea if this is kind of a upgraded service device or something, but it can handle up to 2 megabits. I'm not going to tell you yet what it is. We were going to plug it in and we're going to see what it does. Maybe we can do that now because you don't know what it is anyways. I might as well plug it in. Does anybody have a guess what it is? I'm going to go back to the chat window and see if anybody has a good guess. It's very retro looking, Peter. So it is, and yeah, it is sort of a computer. It is sort of a computer. So you're not entirely wrong about that. Um, Maybe I should bring this one over here somewhere so you can see it a little bit at the same time. Here. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to find some power for it so I can turn it on. Out of the way, noodles. There you go. You can sit on top of the 3D printer there where you belong. Alright, let's turn it on and see if it works. Should be able to see something. Maybe I should, you know, zoom in a little bit. Beep. Starts up. I can't see much more than what you guys can see because, you know, I'm behind the camera and all that. But maybe I can bring it a little bit to the side and use the other camera instead. The microphone boom camera. Maybe that would be a better idea. And just switch to the close-up cam instead. That is a really good idea, actually. So yeah, let's do that. What is this device? It's booting, used keyboard, note 0, what? Does it say 8 p.m. equals 20? Oh yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for informing us about the date. Yeah. It is not entirely correct, but it's not entirely wrong either, is it? Year, the year is wrong. And the day, that's not entirely wrong. Is it? Is it the 5th today or the 6th today? I'm not really sure. I haven't been out today, so I didn't even bother to think about it. Anyway, why do I have to set the date? I don't want to set the date. Can I just, okay, I'm gonna say 16 then. Okay, it doesn't want me to do that. Beep, beep, beep. Use keyboard. Yeah, I'm using the keyboard, damn it. Press run. Okay. Maybe I need to press shift something to run. I'm pressing run. Anything else you want me to do? It just doesn't like the fact that I write 16. So if I write 04, that's okay? No? What do you want me to call it? 99? Oh! It must be older than the year 2000 because it says 1992. That's interesting. It did not accept me typing 16 or 04. I had to type 99, so it actually believes that it's 1999 right now. So this is one of those units that actually suffers from the Y2K problem. I don't know if you guys can remember back in the time when in around 2000 where everybody was really worried about hospital equipment and the entire world will end or something like that because all the computers will go down because the computer software will not be able to switch from 1999 to year 2000. I don't remember if anybody remember that. Well, this is clearly one of those units that cannot handle year 2000. So this would have been one of those units. Okay, I can understand why they bought the wrong unit. They probably found out they can't possibly use it because of that. I don't know. Let's see what it can do. It has a monitor, auto configuration, Bert. I don't know what Bert is. That's some name. Can I call Bert if I press this button? Bert? Bert setup menu. Okay, protocol async and 1200. Oh, that's really slow. That's not really fast at all. Is there an escape button here somewhere? Because right now I feel like escaping. If there's an escape button, I can't see it. I'm trying to see it, but I can't see it. Could it be this one? No? Run. Okay, this works. Okay, Bert is running. It is doing something. I have no idea. GN net test. That should give you an idea what this is. There's protocols being showed on the internet on the screen here right now, and this should give you an idea. I know what unit this is, but I'm not gonna reveal it yet. I'm gonna give you a chance to guess. So let's see if you can guess it. Press the any key, right? Yeah, I do believe it has a RISC processor in it. I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, it says that. You read that here. Right. Right. But it is kind of special. It has a floppy disk. It also have a hard disk built inside. I do believe there's actually a PC built inside this thing. It could be a Pentium or a 286 or a 386 or something like that. I'm not sure, but I do believe there's a PC inside of them. They often use that when they made test instruments and the more modern instruments, instead of just making them so highly specialized. But as you can see, if you can, this is actually brand new. The screen is as crisp as clear as you can possibly get it. It is actually unused, so to speak. So it's brand new. I just don't have any use for it myself. And one of the better thing is, this is one of those PCs I can actually turn off brutally without hurting it or hurting the operating system, and that's kind of rare. Or what, Peter? Huh? Okay, I'm gonna turn this off now because this is getting unnecessary. So I'm just gonna shut this down. There's no reason to have this running all the time right now. There you go. And there you go. Down you go, and so do you. Okay. Do we have any takers? Do anybody know or want to guess what kind of unit this is? Okay, I wasn't aware of that. That's kind of interesting. So, Peter, do you have a guess? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. This device was used by the phone industry. That hint was Sony Ericsson. It was used by the phone company, and it was used to inspect certain things about the phone company. It can do two important things. One of the things that it can do is to analyze protocols. It can use the serial port. It can even use something called the T1, T2, and T3 port. It can be connected to ISDN, which is an older internet slash phone standard. I do believe some places in Norway they still use that. I remember before I left Norway, one of the most modern internet connections we had was ISDN. And I remember when I came to Denmark, we also had ISDN. I remember I had ISDN when I played Quake 2 Lithium on the internet on multiplayer. I actually paid for two ISDN lines. And one ISDN line is 64 kilobit. And two of them is 128. So I actually hired a double line for ISDN, which were pure luxury. And you will not believe what I paid to play video games online back in, let's say, I thought it was 1997, 1998. This is when I attended an animation workshop in Viborg for animation. Yep, I was educating myself or training myself to become an animator at the Anim workshop in Viborg. Just to, if you want to see that, I'll show you what that is, because I do believe they still exist. So let's check it out. Yep, they still exist. And this is the animation workshop. This is where I attended school back in the days. They have degrees now, and I do believe the closest I can come to the degree they have here would probably be yeah, They called it Kika back in the days. Courses in classical animation. That's what they called it when I took it. Today they are merited, which means you can actually, if you have school merits or a degree or something like that, you can actually, if you have enough points, you can actually attend this school. Back in the days when the animation workshop still were young, we had to pay a hefty sum of money in order to go there, and we had to go through a pretty rigorous drawing and art test in order to be able to attend. There was like 200 to 300 different people trying to get in, and only 10 to 20 people got in. And I was one of those lucky people who went to this animation school, and it is a pretty awesome school actually. And you probably can guess what they do. Oh, public nudity. Well, this is actually called croquis drawing. They do this, and we did that all the time. We had to draw these things in order to understand how the anatomy works, etc., etc. And that was a part of the drawing course, if you like. So that's kind of natural. That's exactly what you do when you work with classical drawing. That's a little bit of my background. Have anybody in here guessed exactly what kind of instrument I was showing you here just a few minutes ago? Hi, Ressa. Welcome back. It's nice to see regulars coming back here every day. That's pretty nice. I like this. One day we will all be one big family in here, and everybody is coming back, and we're having the good old chat all the time. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get a hint. Not a hint as well. It was used by the phone companies. It was used to fault find on ISDN phone lines. It is a protocol analyzer. Of course, you wouldn't be able to guess that unless you worked for them or worked with that kind of stuff back in the days. I have never worked with that, so the only reason I know is because they told me when I bought the instrument, and I also got it really cheap. I think it cost like 20 or 40,000 or something like that, and I got it for 400 Danish kroner, which is roughly 50 bucks or something like that, which is nothing. So I was just thinking maybe I can use the hard disk and the monitor and stuff like that and just pick components from it. It just ended up in the attic, just as many other collector's items that I have. So yeah, that's basically what that was. Oh, rest up. I don't know if you joined yesterday, but if you remember from yesterday, I was working on my 3D printer, and as some of you know, I'm an animator and a modeler, so I also make my own characters. And this is Noodles. I finally managed to print him out on my new fancy 3D printer. It's a cute little guy, and details became pretty good, I think. And this is printed with my 3D printer, which I used, which is from Flash Forge. Yep. So if you have any questions, either about the electronics or the stuff here, then please ask them now, because I'm here for the next, for the next 25 minutes. I'm here for roughly an hour every single day. Sometimes we will have a 2-hour show if there's a lot of viewers and we have a lot of questions and stuff that people want to see and stuff like that. And we can easily make it a 2 hours. But if there's silent or dead air, I'm just going to go ahead with my plans of what I'm presenting, just like I did, and come up with whatever that's on the mind, and just run as usual, basically. Thank you. It's a cute little guy. Alright, have I shown you everything yet? Probably not. I have this little surprise. I have this little thing. This is a microscope, as you probably guessed. It's a typical school microscope, if you like. I have made this special little device for it, which is sort of an adapter for my camera, especially that old web camera, which means we can check out stuff live of a microscopical size. So I've been testing this earlier. and we're going to dedicate one of these web episodes, these live shows, to that. I'm not going to connect all of that now because then all the cables and stuff like that are going to fall out and things are not going to work. So we're going to do that later, but this is one of those things you can look forward to later if you want to check out how a microcircuit looks inside, how an EPROM looks inside, take a look at miniature transistors and all kinds of miniature stuff, maybe even some biological stuff. We can do that on the show as well, because that's kind of cool. It is actually a pretty good school microscope, I have to say. So I've been testing this before and had really good results with this. Yep. Where's Gizmo? Good question. He's hiding here somewhere, I think. If you saw him, you can barely watch him. He's right here. That's because I was showing someone the other day this EPROM burner here, which is a classic old EPROM burner, which is used to program EPROMs with, if you know what that is. I have bought some converters to it. I've even upgraded it with firmware upgrading, which were actually possible. This one is, I do believe it's a Korean version. And what can you do with this? Well, before we had Arduino, I used some microcontrollers called 8751, I believe. It's a part of the 8000 series microcontrollers. These particular microcontrollers had a built-in EPROM, and they had a one-time use EPROM only, and I could use this one to program them with. And I did that. In fact, I did that for the RoboCup 2009 when I participated in RoboCup making a robot. I didn't have Arduino back then, so I had to use this old-fashioned system in order to program those things. I even had to build my own computers from scratch, not the microcontrollers itself, but the H-bridge, the Darlington setup, the controller. Yeah, the controller were made, but I had to wire everything myself. I do believe I have that robot somewhere. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I could check it out, see if I still have it. It's from 2010. I'm going to go back to the chat so you guys can see each other instead. Yeah, I do believe I have it in an old bag here somewhere. See if I can actually pry it out. Have some patience because it's going to take a little bit of time to get it out. I'm going to have to move a bunch of components. Oh, I found something interesting here as well you might want to watch. I'll show you later. That's actually kind of interesting. I'll show you that later. See if I still have this whole thing. Yeah, I do. It is right here. Can't seem to find the charger for it though, but here it is. This is my participant in the RoboCup 2009 in Denmark. Let's go to the camera. Yep. This looked like a commercial toy, which it is, until you watch here. As you can see, I have modified it slightly. You can see it's modified because it's not professionally done. It's been cut out, manually and stuff like that. I tore out the remote control part. I went down to a toy store, which is called Fedabea or something like that in Denmark. And I bought this one because I wanted to build a robot out of it. And let's see if I have put some screws together on it. Yeah, I have. Not many though. I can show how it looks. I can show you how it looks inside. I don't think it powers up after all of these years because we're talking many years ago, but you never know. I mean, it could. I'll be right back. Hummer, not a bummer. That's right. It is a Hummer. Personally, I do like lobster. That was a Norwegian joke, by the way. Anyway, let's open this puppy up and see what it says. Yeah, there's not so many screws holding it back. Not this one. This one maybe. Technically, I suppose I could print another one, Peter. I suppose I could do that. Let's see if that was all the screws. No, there's another one here. Alright, that'll have to do. A little bit difficult to get that screw, but I'm gonna get it anyway. There you go. Alright, let's go to camera. Okay, I'm gonna show you a little piece of history here. This is a special device that I have made. This is the part where it becomes apparent that this is not a commercial model, but something that I made. Yes. I went kind of crazy back then, and I built this. This is I remember waking up one day and saying to myself, I want to build a line following robot, and I want to be a part of that contestant they usually have in DTU, Denmark's Tekniske Universitet. I believe they call it Denmark's Technical University. And it's open to everybody who want. I do believe they still do it even today. But this is this was my participant back then, and I built this entirely by hand, which is crazy because most of the students, they used some kind of a CAD system back then and got the print boards and assembled and made in China. I was pretty much the only one, I believe, that did this by hand. As you can see here, I'm just using a standard prototype proto board, nothing else. Everything is just handmade. I can tell you as much as this, I didn't even use the schematics when I made this thing. I made this thing out of my head. I must have been crazy back then, I'm not sure, but I made this out of my own head. This is the microcontroller I was talking about. This is the 87 FC 51 FC, and this is a 32 kilobyte 8 bits microcontroller with roughly 32 or I'm not really sure how many I/O ports it has, but it has 44 pins, and I do believe it has 32 I/O pins. And I have been using 8 of those I/O pins, no 11 actually, to control this Hitachi compatible display in order to program it when I was participating in the competition. Here you see something you call a H-bridge, which is controlling the motors. This is essentially a set of transistors which opens and closes the gate of power to the various motors inside of this vehicle. And the microcontroller, of course, is the entire program of this autonomous robot. And I'll show you exactly how it follows a line. On the underside, on the underside of this thing, let's see if I can adjust the camera so we can see that. You'll see there's a bunch of diodes here. These are infrared emitter diodes. These are infrared emitter diodes. There are 4 of them. And there are 4 readers as well. These are actually infrared transistor receivers, if you like. They're photodiodes, infrared photodiodes that are that can receive. And these are photosensors, infrared sensors. And they are basically being read here by this circuitry. So what it does is that it shines some infrared light on the floor, and the infrared light bounces back, and the infrared sensors will either see the black or the white. If it's black, the light will be blocked and not reflected. If the floor is white, which it is, then it will know there's just an open floor. So the black line that it has to follow will essentially just tell the microcontroller that if this side is blocked, then the left side is gone. If this side is blocked, if this light is blocked, then the right side is gone. So it has to get the motors back, get the vehicle back on track, just by simple stuff like that. So technically it's not really that advanced, but the fact that I made this whole damn thing, to put it lightly, by hand, and not use the schematics for this whole entire thing, I must have been completely nuts back then. But people thought it was hilarious. And I got some good fun out of it, and they got some good fun out of it. So if you have any questions, I'll take that now. So yeah, I can be a little bit crazy sometimes. But it was fun. I actually came into the final. I qualified for the final just in the last minute. I remember I was about to leave the hall because the photo transistors failed on me. One of them burned up, and I had like 2 hours to fix it, and I actually managed to fix it. So I came through the qualification round and everything. So it was kind of fun. Well, it took roughly 3 weeks to build that one. And I remember I was quite sober when I discovered that I've actually put myself up for this competition. I wasn't when I did, so that was kind of a shock. So no beer for me for 3 weeks, so that was kind of funny, because I was working every single day. The other people at all the students, you know, they had like 3 years, and that was one of their projects to be able to build this and do all kinds of stuff. Me, I had like 3 weeks because I've signed up for this crazy competition, and in order not to lose my good reputation and name, I had to come up with an entry instead of disqualifying. So I had to make this thing. That's why I did this. I didn't even have time to make a schematics. I just built it out of the blue, really. So that was kind of fun. It's something I'm never gonna forget. That was really weird as well, but it was a good proof of concept. So yeah, it was fun. Weird, but fun. I'm gonna put this one together later on. Yes, we have roughly 13 minutes left, so if you have any questions, I'll be ready to answer those. See if I can come up with something else. Something that could be fun to be doing in the future. As I've said before, and I'll say it again to everybody, especially to you people who are joining right now, or maybe watching the show later on. If you have any idea what you want to see in the live show, or any show in the future, please do comment below. Come up with some suggestions, what you want to see in the show. If you have any ideas, I'll bring it up here and we'll have some fun. We'll talk about it. I'll go through it, maybe stuff you want to send me, and I'll review it and stuff like that. I will not be returning it though, just to know that, because I have a limited budget. But anyway, if you want that, I will go through those things and just check it out and stuff like that. But I always do that honestly. I'm not going to endorse anything or anything like that, unless I think it is absolutely freaking awesome, in which case I just do it because I think it's freaking awesome, basically. Yep. And remember to click subscribe, and remember to click like if you like this kind of show, and I'll be trying to do it as long as I can. I have an initial plan to be running this for at least 2 months, because I want to see how this goes, see if you guys like to have a live show like this. It's certainly better than editing every single time, because of this broadcast software makes it much easier to transition between different cameras when we're working on stuff, and you know, everything else that we're doing here in the workshop. So it makes a lot more sense to do this live rather than sitting 7 or 8 hours doing editing and making 100 different clips and stuff like that. So sort of better, I think, at least for me. Yep. Okay. Well, Rizap is asking how a FM radio works. Well, as you probably know already, FM stands for frequency modulation. And as opposed to amplitude modulation, which is an AM signal, it needs a carrier in order to transmit. I don't know if you have a specific question when it comes to FM receivers, because there is always Wikipedia you can look up if you want to know the exact specifics on how to make an FM radio, because to me, to sit here and explain that for several hours, it's kind of weird, because you should be able to look that information up. But of course, we can Google that together. Absolutely. Just like Wikipedia says, FM broadcasting is a method of radio broadcasting using frequency modulation, just like I said before we looked at this page. FM technology was invented in 1933 by an American engineer called Edwin Armstrong. I didn't know that, actually. It was used worldwide to provide high fidelity sound over broadcast radio. FM broadcasting is capable of better sound quality than AM broadcasting. Duh. And the chief competing radio broadcasting technology is, so it's used for most of the music broadcast. Well, back in the days. Today we actually use digital broadcasting, a DAB radio. Speaking of which, I actually have a DAB radio, but where I live it's kind of hard to receive, because it's kind of like a digital MPEG-2 stream, sort of, MPEG-3 stream actually, that goes via the airwaves instead. And they, if I'm not entirely mistaken, they can actually fit 8 or 16 simultaneous channels in just one frequency or something like that. But I think it's pretty broadband, 2 megahertz or something like that. Normal FM radio you can probably get away just with 20 kilohertz or something like that. And a normal transmission. An AM transmission will typically be between 3 kilohertz and 10 kilohertz, depending on the fidelity, if we're talking about bandwidth. Anyway, did you have any specific questions about this, by the way? You're building a radio or something? Nope. Alright. Let's take a quick look. See, we have 2 people watching right now, and it seems like the live transmission, so the camera for some reason has frozen. Nope, it hasn't. It just froze on my page. Maybe it's a JavaScript thing. Could be that. Alright, so if you have any suggestion on what we're going to talk about tomorrow, please do tell me now, or type it below later on, because you can always watch this show later on. Also all the back episodes, like 1 to 7. This is episode number 8, I believe. And if you want to know what I'm gonna do later on, not today because I'm too tired, I'm just gonna go to bed because this is a little bit late for me, and it could be work tomorrow. I'm probably just gonna spend tomorrow either searching for more interesting jobs, or continue my 3D printing adventure. I think I'm gonna set the printer to print a larger version of noodles here tonight, because the night lasts longer than 6 to 7 hours, so I might as well just sit there and let it print all night anyway. So yeah, that's basically what I had to plan to do. Oh yeah, there's another thing we're gonna go do too. There's this synthesizer that I have that I used to play on, is DX50. I do believe I've explained that before. It has some dead keys, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. So we'll do that too. Yep. If you guys don't have any comments, I'm just going to put this thing together again. Because to me, this is kind of part of my nostalgia, if you like. A little part of my history. Let's turn this one the other way around, which is supposed to be, I suppose. Oopsie daisy. Or as Benjamin, if he was here, would have said, oopsie daisy, since he is Danish. There's all kinds of expressions all over the world. And oopsie daisy is kind of a Danish expression and means whoopsie daisy, sort of the same thing. I don't know what I should say in Swedish, but I live in Sweden right now, so I guess we have words for that too. But I have to think about that. How would I say whoopsie daisy in Swedish? Nah, I lived 16 years in Denmark, and I can still mostly just remember Danish. Even though I know a lot of Swedish, it's mostly Danish as far as I am concerned. There you go. It's in place. Right. Let's see if there's something on the chat. 8-bit keys on YouTube. Okay, I'm not really sure about that. Let's check that out. I'm not really sure about that, what that is. Okay, that seems fairly interesting. I'm going to be a little bit careful. I'm not going to press or play any one of these videos because you know what happened last time. The automatic copyright detection routine of YouTube will probably send me a little notice if I even click on one of these and show you guys that, because it's going to be a part of this live stream recording later on. But this seems very interesting. I'm definitely going to look into that later. Thanks for the tip. This is interesting. Definitely going to check that out. Yeah. Seems so. Seems so. Man, this brings back memories. I remember when I had to program all these units using these things instead of Arduino. Arduino is so much easier to work with than this stuff. First of all, I remember when I worked with this stuff. When I worked with this stuff, in order to make all of this stuff here work with the with the robot and all that, I first had to program it on a special kind of test board, a test setup, a development setup, if you like. And I do believe I still have that. This is how that looks. And then I'm sort of testing it. Instead of using the board you just saw inside, which were handmade, I use this semi-professional unit, which is a clone of a really expensive kit that I bought in Taiwan. But it was really good. It works just fine. I had to program this development board here first and connect it to the motors here and test it. And when I'm done and satisfied with that, I have to switch to this one, find a new chip because it can only be burned once, and put it in here, load up a program and program it in here, put that chip into my own board that I have made myself, and then run it from there. Really, really unnecessary because that made debugging hard, long, and annoying. All of that stuff can be done with one little unit. It's called Arduino Nano, or any other Arduino if you like. Everything just in one chip. So much easier today. to prototype and to make something really quick. So yeah, it's called progress. What can I say? Definitely progress. Okay, he buys old keyboards. Well, I bought a few keyboards too, but I usually just keep them myself because I like them. I would actually like to have a Yamaha, I think they call it no, wait a second, it's a Korg. I do believe it's called a Korg M3. That's another classic. I have the DX50 from Roland, but I would really like to have the Korg workstation. It was one of the first workstations that ever came, and I do believe it's called M3 or something like that. And there's another Yamaha too. It's another classic. Not really sure what it's called. Yamaha XP something. Not really sure. I actually saw something really cool at the music store the other day. It is a remake of the world famous Yamaha DX7. They have made a small miniature keyboard, cost roughly 4,000 Swedish kroners. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about that one. But that was pretty interesting. It's kind of like a retro thing, if you like. Let's see if I can find that. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but we can Google that, I guess. Now if I can hit the freaking keys, you know, with all this stuff in the way and stuff like that, it's nearly impossible to see anything. Get through anywhere. I don't remember what it was called, but it is sort of a remake of it. It's really small. Oh, there it is. It's called Yamaha Reface DX7. I'm taking a chance now showing a video like this, but I'm going to do it really, really quick. This is a new version of that old synthesizer called the DX7. And that's all she wrote. I'm not gonna dare to take more chances than that. If I get another YouTube copyright thingy majiggy just because of this stupid stuff, I'm really gonna go berserk on YouTube. I'm not kidding. But that's how easy it is. They have some kind of an automated algorithm. You can't even show people web pages anymore because it's bing, that's not yours, boom. That's just fair use anyways. I don't get it. But yeah, that's the way that is. Yeah, and I had that. If you know that, I've actually had intro music for my shows several times in the other shows. I just haven't used it here in this broadcaster system. But I should probably do that. I should probably do that. Right. Okay, that means that the show is over for today. It was 1 hour. An hour goes really quickly. But that's pretty much all I have energy and the material to do today anyway. Because we have to come up with something new every single day, 5 times a week. So that's enough for me for today. So thank you for everybody for watching. Do remember to press like and do remember to subscribe if you haven't done that. Please link to this channel to different social medias where you frequent, because this will help us get more subscribers and more viewers, and it will be more fun for you guys too, because then we will have more people logging on, interacting, coming up with ideas to what we're going to have and what we're going to do, etc. So until tomorrow, see you next time and have a good time.